Hello there. We'll talk about communication channel during disaster. Yes, what to do and what not to do. What are the standard operating procedures for communications during disaster is the focus of. So remember, effective communication is the greatest logistical problems during any emergencies, any crisis, any untoward incident. Proper communication will help you to filter out all the rumor mongering and probably help you to ascertain what is the exact requirement resources are required to mitigate that event, mitigate that crisis. So yes, we are talking about proper logistical problem, and that can only be solved through an effective communication thing. So what is CRT? Computer Emergency Response Team. Volunteers can be a part of the solution because they can ratify and navigate, probably even filter through whatever communication is being circulated in the social media and so on and so forth. So yes, we need to keep an eye over what kind of communication is actually happening per se. So overview. So role of CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. During activations, communication plans, communication modes, basic radio anatomy, communication operations, and thereby. So the role of computer emergency response team. Now, what are we looking into it? It basically means that effective communication is transcribing and transferring from one volunteer to another volunteer. And when I say effective, it is trustworthy. When I say effective, it is concise. When I say effective, it is precise. Essential for functions such as light search, rescue, when dealing with anything of a large crowd. There are plentiful of other example. Let's say if we are looking for to through rubbles during an earthquake to look for survivors. Now, what are the effective communication that can be transpired around it? So yes, we have the computer emergency response team. We have the operation in chief, the incident commander, and probably there are fragments of team that has been allocated based on the geographical location, based on the task, based on the time of the day, the transportation team, the medical team, and so on and so forth. So, role of CERT or Computer Emergency Response Team. You are basically tiring up. Look what has happened. This building is on fire. Absolutely, this might be a residential, commercial complexes housing a number of people. Probably this is on fire, and that is where the communication, the fire brigade has come in. They are working on the top floor, and probably people have been evacuated. This is where CERT becomes the eyes and ears of such an emergency. So, effective communication promotes safety first, calling for help when needed, what needed, the resources that is required, reporting safety related incidents, accountability. Team leaders can able to filter those information, prioritize those information, and probably attend them according to the priority. Communication plan. What is the communication plan? What is the logistical emergency plan? Who will communicate and to whom they will communicate? What are the flow of information? That is very important, that you need to understand. Jurisdictional plan, how different that emergency response team will act upon it. Uh, Believe me or not, in every country there are provincial government, there are federal government, there are probably police station, and they have the jurisdiction over a particular span of an area. And there are certain areas which falls under gray area, which might be under both the government, both the police stations, both the corporations, and what not you want to say. So you need to understand, categorize which all place comes under which whose responsibility. That is where the jurisdictions team would be looking into it. The computer emergency response team should plan accordingly. The how CRTs or computer emergency response teams will be activated, who will be volunteering around it, how will the computer emergency response team will communicate with each others, what not only with each others, with the responders, with the panickers, with the victims. This needs to be fitting into the jurisdictional plan. You look what is happening. You have a number of people. This might be the fulcrum of information, the CRT team headquarters around it. From there might be a number of teams, let's say a gray team and the bluish team that we are looking into, the purple team. And then there is somebody called an authority who is marked in the purple thing. Now this is the communication plan where everything goes around it. The head will only collect information from there, but this gentleman or this team is collecting information everywhere and everywhere. So that is what we are looking into. Team leader A, team leader B has been documented and visibly shown to you with the graph. Communication mode, methods or technologies used in communication, advantages, their disadvantages. We'll talk about everything, including runners, phones, radios, computer in this video. Hold on. So we'll talk about the communication modes. We can have runners where people are actually physically transmitting the communication word to word. A person hears it, sees it, and probably runs from place A to place B, known as runners, and transmit those information. Landline, telephone, cell phone, probably they are not running, but probably they're transmitting the information. Two-way radio, wherein one person is talking and the other person is talking from another different location, and they are talking, communicating as in two-way communication, the computer communication, satellite phone, and so on and so forth. What are the advantages of runners? Probably reliability factor is very important. Flexibility is very important. Familiarity with environment. Not everybody can go through outrageous environment. Let's say in a mountainous region, let's say in a valley, probably, let's say in a difficult forest. Now, this is familiarity with environment would be helping. Availability and no special training is required. Runners, the limitations are distance. The limited by time. Believe me or not, runners are at the end of the day human beings. If the emergency is too big or too large enough, probably for them to keep on transmitting the information over a longer period of time in terms of days and weeks, it becomes a little bit of a difficult. Requires written information for accuracy. Availability, again, it depletes your team. Require familiarity with the area. Not everybody would be accustomed to the area, and that is why the runners would be a bit of a difficult task. Let us talk about the landlines. This is everybody's favorite. Probably everybody is aware of it. They are familiar, they are commonplace, they enhance the common knowledge that every federal government will have that notification. Certain government, let's say the American government says 911 as an emergency number. The other government who might say 999 is the emergency number. There are other federal government which says 100 is the emergency number. So basically, whatever emergency number that the government notifies, you can call that through your landline. The data transfer happens around here. But the limitations. This is not a mobile, it is a fixed unit, right? The landline. As a result, what happens, there are chances of it getting damaged very much. There are chances of it not being found available easily in the location. Systems overload very easily. Network can sustain physical damage, as I said, power failure, corded phone or cordless phone, you name it, and we have it. We have voice over internet protocol, as the case might be. That is what we look around here. Cellular phone has those disadvantages taken care of. Why? Because again, you have all the advantages of mobile or of the phone, which is familiarity, mobility, commonplace, text messaging, and camera phones. You can actually take photographs. You see the photograph, the phones which is available in the market. But limitations are, if there are something goes wrong and the infrastructure of the telecom tower goes wrong, probably it's malfunctioning, you are unable to transmit any of the messages, any of the calls. So tower may fail easily, system overload again easily, requires knowledge of the phone numbers and may be dependent on the landline. So here comes the next better advantage is being the satellite phone. The satellite phone, the advantage is that it is always on. It is through a satellite that you are connected. You are not nowhere connected with your environment on your planet, within the planet. So there are no causes of physical damage or tower installation or something like that. But disadvantage, extremely expensive, rare, requires visibility to sky, absolute access to the blue sky for you to communicate, or building with a compatible camera. Computer communication is another advantages, may work when the systems are down. Provide electronic records, versatile network connections, relatively secure, large amount of information, including pics, photographs, data, can be transmitted, formatted, pre-formatted information. Thumb drives, disk do not require internet, and most importantly, the information gets redistributed time and again. But then there is a limitation. Equipment, the laptop, the desktop may not be available or physically damaged, may require internet connectivity, require specific hardware, expensive, and obviously, yes, during crisis, during emergency, there are maximum chances of power losses, but this requires powers to work, to perform. Two-way radios, how do they work? This is frequency-based radios which are based on channels and the ranges. The ranges might be very low. It might be anything from 10 to 15 kilometers or 2 to 5 kilometers. Antenna power level, atmospheric conditions, repeaters and simplex technology that we goes around it. FRS or the family radio services are advantages. It's extremely inexpensive, widely used, and doesn't require much of a channel or data band. No license required. Range is up to 1.5 kilometers, 1.6 kilometers, or a 1 mile as the case be. But it depends on the terrain. Up to 14 channels, shared communication with GMRS, best used in intra-team communication per se. What is FRS family radio station with limitation is very difficult to find. Most are hybrids in nature and are handheld. Even for example, I might have a phone family radio station. What happens is I might have the phone, but I during emergencies, crisis, the phone might not be with me, and that defeats the whole purpose of it. Is it is handheld only, cannot alter the radio, no antennas at all. With this I come to the end of the emergency communication. Hope everybody understand what are the best methods of communication during emergencies or disaster is all about it. Thank you for watching this video till the end.